an health committee meeting, so I'd like to ask the city clerk for roll call.
Alderperson Vitale,
Here,
Grisham,
Here.
Reinke. Here. Rote.
Here.
Stefanski is currently excused.
yeah, he'll be a little late.
Yep.
So now we move on with the approval of the minutes of the October
Mr. Chair?
24th. Yes,
Motion to approve the minutes of the the October 24th, 2020 meeting, the recess meeting of November 4th, 2020, and November 17th, 2020.
Second.
all in favors?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you. Let's move on with the new and previous matters. We have item 2 and 3. It's a Class C wine license application of Milwaukee Banquet LLC, Seth Winders Cinch, agent DBA, Winnie Kitchen for premise located at the 10535 West Greenfield Avenue, the new and non-existing location. So I think we can take both of them at the same time. And here, the number 3 is Class B beer license application from Mr. St. Winders Cinch agent. So we can move forward with that, and let's have some discussion, Nick.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I believe this was put on hold at the gentleman's request. However,
correct.
were we looking at, I think there were questions with this particular establishment, and that maybe the owner can answer. However, it's a gas station, and in the front area is a restaurant. But I believe that we all had questions as far as if you have do you sell alcohol or beer out of your gas station right now?
Only beer.
I'm sorry?
Only beer?
So you do have a liquor license to sell beer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, as far as the restaurant portion, and I was going to stop by to see that. I've been at your gas station before, but I'm not familiar with the restaurant area.
Yeah, the
Can you
restaurant-
describe to us, are there 2 entrances, one from the gas station itself and then one from outside? I do know that there's an
Yes,
exterior
ma'am.
one.
Yes, ma'am. There is a 2 entrance for the restaurant from the Greenfield Avenue.
Would you mind pulling your mask down so we can hear a little bit better? Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, the restaurant itself had their own entry point and exit point, and 3 of them. And they can come from the parking lot from the Greenfield Avenue, and they had the exit, their own exit.
Okay, so you have an entrance that comes in from the gas station itself,
Yes.
inside that building.
Yes, and from the
right on
Greenfield Avenue.
Greenfield Avenue.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is the double doors there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there is one door is between the gas station and the restaurant is also there. So there is all 3 doors are, you can come and you can go out.
Okay.
You have any more questions, Alvin?
No, I think that covers my questions for
Yeah, I
now.
have a question, like I did mention to you in reference of maintain the entryway between the gas stations and the restaurant. So you said that you'll be able to keep the door locked at all the time. Is that correct?
Yes, no, we can unlock the door, all 3 of them, So there is no problem because those are the separate doors.
You'll be able to lock that door, right?
Yeah, yes, we do.
So,
we can.
so it will be an emergency exiting door, right? And,
Yes.
and one entrance door from
Yes.
Greenfield Avenue side, right?
Yes, sir.
So the entryway between the gas stations and the restaurant, you'll be able to keep that locked at any time,
Yes, sir.
okay? Because we don't want people, like I say, come into your establishment.
No, it
And
is
go
a-
in
we
and
had-
out from the taverns, from the gas station, and go into the restaurants area, that's 2 different applications of
No,
licensing,
you can lock at any time.
Yeah, so he'll be able to do that. You give us an assurance. You'll be able to give that in writing to our city attorney?
Sure,
You'll
no
be able to
problem.
do that, right?
Yes.
It would be possible, Mr. Serwin?
I caught part of that. I'm sorry, you're looking for something in writing from the agent that they wouldn't have the adjoining doors be used to go between the two premises, correct?
Yeah, one door goes between the two permits, one of them should be locked at any time. And-
Okay. If
And
that's
then
what the
having,
committee is asking, I can work that out with the licensee.
okay.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question related to that. Now, if I'm clear, you have only 2 doors.
No, I had 3 doors.
You have 3 doors. Okay,
Yes.
because I know for fire exit purpose, you have to have that door unlocked.
Yes, yes,
so-
we had 3 door, exit door for the restaurant itself.
Okay.
And the entry point itself.
Okay,
And the third door is between the restaurant and the gas station.
okay,
And the gas station people, they can lock their door anytime. And the restaurant people, they can lock their door anytime. And there is exit, there both location have the separate entry and exit door.
okay. And what are your hours of operation?
That will be the, right now due to COVID, we are doing only the carryouts.
Say
So-
that again, I'm sorry?
Due to the COVID, we will do only the carryouts right now.
Okay,
We will not sit in right now, and those operation will be 10 to 9,
okay.
7 days.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Alderperson Reinke?
basically, I did come out and look at the restaurant. But I'm concerned with the plans and the floor plan itself. You didn't finish filling out the floor plan with the proper information. As far as the dimensions were concerned of the various areas, you didn't fill any of that out or the time. So I was a little disappointed with the fact that you didn't fulfill what you were supposed to do.
They
The
asked
restaurant
me
is,
for
the restaurant itself is very, very small. Why do you feel that you need a wine or a beer license to have?
Because this location already had that license for a long time. At least 7 year, I know that. Before that, I don't know. There was people who, I am not changing anything, and that license was there before, and I am not adding anything. It is the existing plan, and there was, I know the 2 owners, they came before and they had the license, and they was running that restaurant fine.
So there is already a license for the restaurant?
No, there was the other people before me. So I know from last 7 years, the same license was going on, with no problem. So I'm not adding anything. So that license was already there.
Who would run the restaurant?
Before that, there was other people. So that location have the beer and wine license already. First was the Binny kitchen, and then there was a Mantra kitchen, or Mantra food. So they had both, they run the Binny kitchen, Winey kitchen, I think, they run for almost 3 or 4 years, and the Mantra 1.5 years, and they had the license.
Mr.
So
Chair,
this is not
Yes.
anything new.
so just to speak to that contention or that concern is that just because the place had a license in the past, if this is a new non-existing, which is what it's listed as, it's going to be judged on its own merits. So if this was something that was continuing on and it was a renewal license, then the committee would have had much less to say about it, because it's a new license in this case. Whether or not you use the exact same plan, they can renew these basically starting from scratch. And so if they're asking for, or if the committee wants more information, that's something the committee can certainly ask for on a new or non-existing location, which is how this is labeled, at least on the agenda. Anne Marie, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So what's the?
Chairman Vitale.
Yes,
You didn't answer my question,
Oh, I'm
sir.
sorry.
Why didn't you fill it out properly?
I can fill up again, if you want me to. That
The
I can
plan
do.
of operation, you neglected to fill out, so how do we know? How do we know, for instance? the parking areas for the restaurant? How do we know the dimensions of the various parts of the building that you neglected to fill out the whole form?
I'm sorry for that, but I think I fill up everything, you know. The parking is half in the bank, you know, there is Empower Bank. The half parking lot, we can share that is in our lease. And there is a 3 spot in front of that kitchen that they can use it, you know, so we had at least 8-9 parking for that place.
Well, that's just one of the parts of it. There's several questions that you have neglected to answer. So how can we know basically what your operation is if you haven't filled it out?
That I can do it again if you want it, you know.
Any other questions in reference of, go ahead,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
and I think I
I'm
just...
sorry, Dan.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
And I kind of answered, well, I didn't answer it, I see it. There are 2 addresses there, correct? There's 10537 and 10535. And you're applying, so the gas station is 10537?
Yes, sir, and 135 is the restaurant.
Okay. And I go to your gas station and I walk in to pay for my gas. I can walk right in to this restaurant then, correct, from your gas station?
Yes, sir, we had one door in there if we want to open or close, you know, so.
But I can go from the gas station to the restaurant.
Yes, you can go from either that way or the restaurant had their own door too.
Thank you.
Any further questions from any members? The issue here, as I believe back before he took ownership, the zoning and planning department, I'm sure they did approve the, you know, of course, the landscaping, the parking, you know, and everything else. So like I say, right now, I don't really have that in front of us, you know, about the, but already, you know, as a pre-existing, there was a restaurant there prior. So the issue here is the license, you know, so based on my concern, like I did address this early, that as long, I believe he keep the door locked between the garage and the gas stations and the restaurants, I mean, I'm not foreseeing any problem. He's got an emergency exiting, and he got an entrance going right into the restaurant. So I believe that's more effective that way, because you don't want to just kids or anybody just go in and out from the restaurant, you know, and somebody probably is 15 years old to go and, you know, get wine or beer, whatever, or liquor, you know. I don't think the issue, we want to pursue that route. So I feel that as long, I mean, he has proper credential at this time, that he's going to follow through with that. I mean, I don't see really any problems, you know, so.
Mr. Chair, if I may. I have some concerns because as Alderwoman Ranky had pointed out, there is no floor plan that we know how you're operating this business, the restaurant portion. So I have a few questions. A, are you operating the restaurant yourself or do you lease this out?
No, I will operate myself.
I'm sorry?
I will operate myself.
You're operating it yourself, so it's an extension of your gas station right now. Okay, and
Not
where,
excuse me, please, this is not the extension, this is business itself.
okay, so
105,
separate
3.
entity,
And yes, ma'am.
okay, all right. Another question, where are you planning on storing the alcohol?
That is inside the kitchen, you know, kitchen area.
Okay.
This- Yeah.
And I guess unless I see a floor plan, I can't in good conscience give you a vote of yes on this. So either we can make a motion to hold over again, and you can come back with that proper paperwork filled out. Or if you guys want to take it to vote now, we can do that too, if there's not any other questions.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
real quick question. I think we discussed this place once before, and we talked about that the access from the restaurant to the gas station was to be used for only emergency purposes. They cannot go from the gas station into the
That's the
restaurant
discussions we
and
had.
not go into the restaurant from the restaurant into the gas station.
Yes.
Are we still holding that true?
Yes, that's what we want.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Alderman Road,
This may be, and thank you, this may be a question for the clerk. Your gas station beer license, wasn't that issued about less than a year ago, and it was the last one, correct? I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but we had every liquor store owner in here within 4 miles saying how much liquor is being sold within that particular area for your gas station getting the beer license. And I'm 95% sure you got our last beer license, or beer-only license. So, I'm just pointing that out, that everybody was in opposition to any more liquor stores within, I don't know what the radius was, but there was a heavy opposition when you got your beer license. Was that within the last year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I thought so. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
okay. Ms. Serwin, I wonder if we should hold it, based on few questions were risen in regard the planning of the restaurant areas, So, again, is anything on records? Maybe we can check through building and zoning, Ms. Serwin, in reference of the plans?
Plans for what? How it,
Well, the issue is about he didn't provide any information about the floor planning or the.
the
site.
application for a liquor license requires a floor plan. That's one of the, I believe it's a state requirement and a local requirement, but historically, I'd reviewed those documents and made sure that they complied with our code in an effort to kind of take away a non-procedural gatekeeper. I'm not reviewing those anymore per the city attorney's recommendation, so they're going to the committee, and if those issues arise, they can be brought up here and held for the owner to remedy that issue. And so if it's held, you can direct him or her to, or any licensee to update that information, make sure they comply with the code. If you want me to work with that person to try to make sure they have everything by next meeting, I'm happy to do so, and or include information or language related to that in-between door area remaining closed but for emergencies.
Thank you, Nick. So what's the consensus of the members?
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I recommend we put it on hold so they can complete the plan of operation for us.
Second.
all in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, to provide you with clarification, sir, that you come back with the completed floor plan and any of that provisional verbiage that we stated, such as that locked entry, but I want to make sure that fire can sign off on that as well. So I'm pretty certain with you having 2 exits, you're good to
Yes,
go.
yes, we
But
do.
I just want to make sure, because you may not have that emergency exit. Do you have more than 1 door in your gas station?
Yes,
Okay, so you're set there for fire, and the restaurant should be separate?
yes.
And you
we
have
had
3
two-
doors for the
two door-
restaurant?
The 3 door, yes.
Okay, all right, so if you can come back with that floor plan, and we can visit this next month, our next meeting.
Very
We
good.
can take a look at it, thank
The
you.
next council meeting.
Is that the council meeting? I think there's a council meeting on the 1st. Are you intending
Yeah.
for it to be
Yeah.
sorted out by then?
Yeah,
But be-
If he can,
All right.
But will be by video conference. So, yeah.
well, how will, if I may, how will we receive the documentation? That'll just be listed on the agenda, right?
be a PDF.
PDF file? Yeah.
My thought is at this point that the agent is going to have to make sure that he goes through that and updates whatever documents. He's going to have to provide them to the clerk's office then. So that's what my
Okay.
concern was on the first, whether or not he's going to actually have enough office time to get that to the clerk's office and then to the committee. And on
Yeah,
the
that's a
agenda.
short window.
So
When's
would
our
the 15th
following
work
meeting?
better?
So,
If I could,
yeah,
Mr.
go
Chair,
ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
do you want him to appear again or just have the completed paperwork?
As long as you provide that floor planning, I think.
The
you should-
completed paperwork and a
Yes,
floor
that's it. You don't
plan?
need to appear, really.
Well, we may have some questions still, the reason
Oh,
why
so that's the
I'm
question.
looking for
Okay,
the
that's
floor
fine.
plan.
That's the wishes of the committee, that's fine.
Yeah,
There is a floor plan attached in the packet. It
Yes.
just doesn't have the dimensions on it.
Well, and it
Oh.
doesn't have the location of where the liquor and stuff is being stored either.
It's cut off at the very bottom. The copier cut it off.
Okay.
It's in the kitchen area and it says, I believe it says storeroom.
So we have already some records.
However, there is a document that's not completed
Okay,
and the dimensions are not on the floor plan.
okay.
So I can work with Mr. Singh and he can stop in and see me tomorrow and we can get that completed.
Okay. Thank
Now,
you
would
so
you do
much.
that as more expeditiously?
Okay.
That's for your own sake, to get it done,
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
okay?
Thank you, sir.
Sure, take care then.
Thank you so much.
So you can see Ann tomorrow or whenever you have a chance, okay?
I will.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming, eh?
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank
All
you,
right.
sir.
Mr. Chair, did we complete the vote? Okay.
Yes. So all in favor? Aye. Oppose? The aye have it. So we move on with the next item. Item 4, 2020-22 food pedal permit application of Isaac Mayo Kiwek. Kiwi? Okay, he's here?
I don't believe so. The issue for this license, Mr. Chair, was that I don't think there's any record issues, but it's a food peddler's license, which allows somebody to sell or vend food from a movable location. Oftentimes, we think of that as being a food truck, and the applicant doesn't have a license. And so I think the committee was questioning or wanted to understand the purpose of or why this individual is looking for that license. Certainly, if they're not going to come to the committee to explain that process, the committee could decline it or reject the application, or we could pass it. It's up to the committee.
Mr. Chair, I make a
Yes.
motion to deny.
Second?
All in favor of denial?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Oppose? The aye have it. So let's move on with item 5, 2022 operator license, bartender sales clerk, application of Nicole Nowak. Nicole's here? Is any records or anything?
I believe this was previously, and Anne Marie, correct me if I'm wrong, this was previously denied, so we're here today for competent evidence of rehabilitation, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Nowak, do you want to grab that spot over there? And Ms. Nowak, I believe you were initially rejected from the license process based on, from my review, primarily the OWI issues. I'm not sure if the committee has any questions for her, if you have any statements.
Yes, so at this time, you understand the procedure, the reasons of
Yeah,
why you're
I'm very
here?
familiar because obviously that stuff's on your record, that's not gonna go away. But that they still are from a long time ago, and since then I've obtained bartending license from the city of St. Francis and also from the city of Milwaukee. And with all those processes, it was always a denial, and then I had to sit before the board, and then they were approved afterwards. So that's what I'm here for today.
So, but you've been clear for quite a while, huh? Right?
Well, I mean, like, I've most certainly paid my debt to society. I've had to do AODA, even enough time has passed where I don't even pay SR 22, so it's been quite some time.
Yeah. Any questions from any committee members?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
was it two?
There was 2 OWIs, I see one from 2010 and one from 2016.
Okay, well, they weren't that overly long ago, but, and where are you going to be working?
I got the bartending license. My friend owns, it's called Da Bar on about 60th and Burnham. And when he first opened, he was going to need some help or staffing. And so I came down to the city to go get the licensing because that's what you should do. And, they issued it, and I helped him a few weekends. I actually work full-time for the Blood Center, which is holding a drive downstairs, so that's my full-time job. Bartending really isn't something I'd like to do, but again, in the future, if he's my friend, and if he was ever like, hey, I'm could really use your help, and if I was available, then still I want everything to be in place for me to be able to help him.
And which bar was that again?
It's called Da Bar.
1900 block on 60th. Around the corner where Mario
okay,
used to be.
okay, thank you. Do they allow their bartenders to drink while working?
I don't, because
No,
obviously.
do they allow it?
Yeah, would they?
Do they allow it?
I wouldn't know. All I know is I don't ever drink, and I've never worked with I've never seen any other staff. I've only, helped them a few times, but it was quite a hefty bartending license. It wasn't like Milwaukee's $75, or I think it was like 35 for St. Francis. What was this, 175? So it was quite an investment to not be working and kind of making that money back. But again, like I said, if I were to help, I would only do it when I know that everything was in place to be able to.
Yeah, I'm so really glad, first of all, the agent or the owner who runs the operation, it's a different environment on that corner, really. I think he's been doing a hell of a good job, so I know
Yeah,
the
he's a
gentleman.
very good friend
I
of
met
mine.
him, and he's pretty nice, So he tried to run a good operations, or good establishment. So any questions anymore from any committee member?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
you had 2 OWIs in the past, I see that. What did you have to do after you got in the OWIs?
Oh, I had to do AODA. I had to even be incarcerated. I had to do like workman's or something.
Community service?
Where bracelet, and then go like work release or
Oh, work
something. I
release,
had to
okay.
be doing like checking in. I'm on the bracelet. I can go to work. I can do whatever, and then every week I had to drug test and come in to see a counselor, and I had to pay numerous fines. I had to pay for just to do all those things. I had to pay SR 22 till not just that recently. Actually, that ended, like you said, 4 years ago. It's not like a 10-year window, but still, to pay $200 a month for car insurance, you don't forget it every day or every month, you're reminded of that kind of mistake, so.
Thank you.
Mr.
You also
Chair?
had one obstructing traffic. What exactly did that consist of?
I was making a turn, and I think it was like an arrow. So I just lost my green arrow, and I continued to turn. It was very early in the morning. I worked for kind of like construction, so you're to work by about 5:30 in the morning. So just like kind of painting a picture. It was still very dark out, and another car was coming. So I had a green arrow, but my green arrow just ended, and we collided. The other person did not stop at all.
Okay. I appreciate your candor. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Alderperson Grisham?
Yes. At this time, I would like to make a motion to approve Ms. Nowak's operator's license. I believe she has met the criteria
I'll
that shows
second it.
competent rehabilitation.
I'll second it.
All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you,
Good
Ms.
luck,
Nowak.
Eva.
Thank you so much. So I have to leave now?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, now we move on with item 6, 2020-22 operator license, bartender sales clerk application of Matthew Brzezinski. Matthew, come forward.
Hello.
So you know basically why you're here, right? You were called in to come and see us. So I believe you have a few records, right?
Yeah, I tried getting my records from Rogers, but they said it was 100 pages long.
Would you please speak into the mic?
Yeah, take it.
I tried obtaining my records from Rogers Behavioral Health, but my record was over 100 pages long, so I wasn't able to obtain it just yet. But I brought my discharge from probation. I haven't really been in trouble with the law since my last run-in was 3 years ago. Like I said, I went to Rogers. I was on WCS, where I had the drug test whenever I got the call, and then I spent a year on probation. So overall, I've been clean for about 3 years, and yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Alderman.
Matthew, thank you for appearing, and thank you for giving us that information. Are you working currently still?
Yeah.
Drug addiction and alcoholism is very difficult to deal with. Are you currently in any programs or continuing?
No,
Okay. And you've been 3 years?
almost, yes.
Okay. And where are you going to be working?
It's called Lumansky's Pub, 89th and Greenfield.
Yep, that's my district. Are you allowed to drink?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be planning on drinking while
No.
you're working? Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, I have another question for you. You have a full-time job right now?
No, I'd actually been a telemarketer for 4 years before I got the opportunity to work at Lumansky's, so,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
You want to look at it, Nick, before we take
Yeah, I
action?
just was gonna notify the court, or the committee on what this means basically for you. This is from 2018.
Yeah, and I just got off probation 2019.
Okay. August,
Yep.
a little over a year now. Okay.
So go ahead.
Mr. Chair, so
Yes.
under state statute, there are certain things that are competent evidence of rehabilitation that would be basically named versions of that. A lot of the times, whatever we're given is just, hey, I've done a good job, or this is what has been accomplished. So under 111.335, when it discusses what competent evidence of rehabilitation is, successful discharge from probation is competent evidence of rehabilitation. Certainly the committee may have an argument that basically the history would make it so that doesn't show competent evidence of rehabilitation. What I'm thinking of in my head is if somebody has 4 OWIs and got off probation for the last one just recently, but every 2 years they catch an OWI, I think we'd have an argument to say otherwise. In this case, there's tickets and issues occurring, but I guess my recommendation to the committee at this point is that we should give weight to successfully completing probation for that last offense.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve Matthew Brzezinski's operator's license application.
Second.
He has definitely shown rehabilitation factors.
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
Matthew.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
All right. Now we move on with item 7, 2022 operator license, bartender sales clerk application of Samantha Liban.
Reyes.
Come forward. Thank you for stopping in. So what you have for us tonight? Any?
So, this is my second time that this is my second renewal of my bartending license for the city of West Dallas, so I kind of know the drill. Like, I did this my last one, expired in 2019, so I have my provisional right now, which was just approved and everything, so I'm here to get my one for 2020 into 2022.
Okay, so it sounds you're clear, I mean, on anything, yeah. So any questions from the committee members?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
this is going to be directed to Nick. What do we have on background? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
That-
Just one point of clarification. This is a new license, though, so your other one lapsed, you said, and you're on provisional right now?
Yeah, so I have mine on my card, so that one was, from June, 18 to 20, or to 2019. So that one expired, so then I went in right into the clerk, and she just gave me a provisional. So right now, I'm getting my, for 2 years more, so
Okay.
20, yeah.
So there was and to answer your question, Alderperson Grisham, there's an 08 OWI, a 2011 OWI, 2017 ticket for following too closely, and then in 2017, it looks like same or similar date for failure to keep vehicle under control, so it might have been an accident or something. Those are the only offenses I'm aware of.
Okay. Thank you, Nick.
Yep.
Any further questions from any committee members?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would this be your full-time job or part-time job?
Full-time,
And did you say where you were?
full-time, sorry.
Okay, did you say where you were going to work?
No, Boosters,
Pardon me?
Boosters Pub. It's on 77th and, Beecher.
Thank you.
Alderman Rhodes?
Mr. Chair, do they allow you to drink there?
Yes, but I do choose not to. I can't afford it. I can't afford to get in trouble again, obviously.
Any more questions?
I move to approve.
Second.
All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Good luck to you.
Where do I get?
We can stop in at, well. at
It has to be
the clerk.
approved through full council first, and so it's gonna have to wait till probably
We
after.
gotta wait until, yeah, let's mail it, yeah. Let's do that. All right. Then we go to item 8, 2022 operator license bartender sales clerk application of Rebecca Rice. She's here? Don't look like. So we have anything on her,
I believe there was a 2016 OWI, which is why she was issued that soft denial. I'm not sure why she's not here right now.
Motion to deny.
Second.
all in favor of denial?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Then we move on to item 10, review of license applicant background check for consideration of possible approval or denial. So
Mr.
we have
Chair?
a
We missed 9?
Three applicant here.
I'm
Nick, everybody's clear on that, for those three applications? It looked
Yeah.
like they put it clear, right?
Anne Marie, were you going to say something? I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Chair, we skipped number 9,
Correct.
9?
Erica Schultz.
Saloons?
Oh,
No, actually, I made the motion to deny.
Okay.
No, that was
That was
Rebecca.
That was
Rebecca
Ray.
Ray's.
I jumped ahead a
That
little
was
bit.
Rebecca who didn't show up. That's
I
the
did jump
bottom.
ahead.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we'll do it after, so.
All right.
Item 9, a 2022 operator license bartender sales clerk application of Erica J. Schwetz. Anything on her? I don't think it looked like, go ahead.
Yeah, she was soft denial. She had an OWI in '09. Several tickets related to speeding or license not on person, operating without operating while suspended several times in 19 and 20. And then in 2015, it notes a tavern violation, operating without a license. So she was soft denied for that purpose. I don't believe there's any appearance today.
I make a motion to deny.
Second?
All in favors of denial?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So we can just move on, item 10. I apologize for skipping number 9. But anyway, I believe we already have the informations, so I believe it was an emotion to approve.
I make a motion to approve Vanessa Molina and Tanya Valio? I can't pronounce the last name, I'm sorry. questioning Yuritsa Padilla based on the THC citation. But I'd be more inclined to approve her as well, to be honest with you, because it was 3 years ago.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, hold on.
the THC citation concerns me in 2017. Could we bring her in to find out if she's been rehabilitated?
So is it 2017 was just one offense in 2017
Yeah, but that's drug-related.
or drug related? Well, it's up to the members. I mean, I'm not the only one to determine that.
Just,
But-
just so I can be clear, Alderperson Grisham, was your motion to approve Molina and Vallejo, and then your motion was to deny Padilla?
Actually, let's take this with Vanessa Molina and Tanya Vallejo. I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
All in favors?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The eye have it.
And I'll throw that back to you, Rosalie, if you'd like to take a look a little bit further with Yuritsa. If you want to make that motion, you're welcome to. I'd be more inclined to just issue the license right now without bringing her
Bring
in.
her in?
No,
No? You don't want to bring her in?
no, but if you want to make a motion, we can take a vote on it.
I make a motion that we bring her in to explain her rehabilitation since the THC citation.
So, Alderperson Reinecke, to clarify that you're making a motion to have that soft denial issued so she can come and prove competent evidence of rehabilitation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Any seconds on
Mr.
the
Chair.
motion?
Oh, I gotta wait for discussion.
Oh, any discussions?
There wasn't a second.
Any
though.
second? I think that's what you asked for.
There's no seconds. Are there any seconds? So the motion is there.
Denied.
All right, so we would need to make a motion
We
to
need a
approve.
motion
So I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion?
Now we gotta do discussion.
Oh, discussion, sorry, I mean, I'm jumping in too quick. I
That's
tried
kinda
to
too late now.
Get out of here. But anyway, that's
Nick,
fine.
If I may, or
Yes,
do you know what the charge was at the THC? Was it a joint? Was it 10 pounds? What was it?
I don't know, this is it looks like on the works report, I don't think I'd get that information unless I get the police report from wherever the municipality was that issued it. A ticket, I can only speak to my experience in the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office, but the law is that anything that's 25 grams or less would have to be, if it's a first offense, let me rephrase that. Anything 25 grams or more would have to be referred into the DA's office. And so generally speaking, THC tickets are low-level or minor offenses. Generally, anything that's even approaching 25 grams would get referred in. So my guess, and this is only a guess, it'd be less than 10 grams.
Small amount.
Generally speaking, a ticket is a small amount. I can't speak for other municipalities, but I think Milwaukee is in all likelihood the very lightest on marijuana than anybody else would be.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Chair, if I may add to that, I mean, if we look at the DOT notes, failure to obey traffic signal was the same date, I'm sure, as the THC citation. And being there are no previous records on file, I think it's reasonable to say, 3 years ago, it was a no-no,
yeah,
we're
if it
done.
was 6 months ago, a couple of months ago, then I'd be
Right.
more skeptical about it. But it's been 3 years, so again, so there's a second on the floor, so there's any further discussions before we vote on it? So all in favor of the go ahead.
No, we didn't have a second.
We vote on to approve the,
Are we approving it or are we voting to deny it?
no, to approve it. There was a motion made by Alderperson Reinke, but there was no second. So now the motion is, Alderperson Grisham, she made a motion, I second it, so now we're voting on it.
Okay.
So all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Oppose?
What are we voting on?
It was
Vince?
a motion to approve
To approve.
Padilla, and it was motion and a second. So if you want to approve he asked for ayes. If you want to deny or not approve, you would say nay.
Okay, but we voted not to bring her in.
Not bringing-
Correct.
No,
And
no.
I made a motion to approve her license.
Without
So
bringing her in.
we're not
No.
bringing her in. We're going to
Okay.
approve, and we have a vote of 4 yays right now, and we're just waiting on your vote.
Okay,
So are you for or against?
aye.
Okay.
Okay, all in favors?
We just did that.
That was all
Motion
5 ayes.
carries.
Okay, motion carries, all right.
We need to do a little
Sorry,
reset
just
here.
confused me a little bit. I'm just kidding. All right, now we have item 11, assumptions and complaints in the matter of the complaints against Z's Bars LLC, David Zerati, agent for the premise located at 6309 West National Avenue, DBA Z's Bar 2020-21, Class B Tavern License Number 2256. So I believe the attorney is here and the,
Mr. Chair, if I could?
yes,
The attorney for the committee is unable to appear in person at this time. She can appear by phone. Is that okay if I call her real quick?
sure, that's fine.
That's Attorney Hammock. IT wasn't able to, this room makes it difficult to have remote appearances, so this was the best workaround we had. If you give me 1 minute. Common Council or License and Health. Hi, is Rebecca there? Hey, Rebecca, it's Nick. How are you? I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. Is that okay? All right. Yeah, I figured. I was like, wait a second. All right.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Can the committee hear the phone?
Can you hear me?
Yes, hi
Yep.
Rebecca.
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
If you were here.
Right?
Perfect.
All right, so I have a mic that's kind of there as well. And just to remind the committee, I am the attorney as the prosecutor. Rebecca is your attorney providing legal advice on these matters. And then we have Attorney Dagan, who is appearing for the licensee.
Okay, sir. Do you have anything to address to us?
Mr. Chair, if I could, so
Yes.
we had discussed this matter and there have been about 5 officers and maybe some citizen witnesses. I elected based on the fact that we had a discussion with, or I had a discussion with council and worked out a proposed stipulation that their officers aren't going to be here today, so we don't have to pay them overtime and what's going on. What we had worked out, and I had contacted and negotiated a potential resolution with Attorney Dagan that contemplated 3 days of being closed in lieu of having a hearing, in lieu of any appeal ability, and then also to maintain the video as they have it right now. The rationale for that stipulation, at least from the city's perspective, and I can't speak for Attorney Dagan, is that they haven't had really anything, well, not anything, but in the past several years, I think we've outlined that in the stipulation, there hasn't been something like this that has occurred. I have the video that I know some other persons wanted to view the video, so I can show what happened specifically. My goal with that is not to litigate the matter right now. It's if the committee is curious to the extent of kind of what happened. I am a proponent of the stipulation because of the lack of a history, at least with these owners, the cooperation since that time, and the fact that these videos are pretty good, and if we keep them on track like this, it's going to be helpful, and was very helpful for the prosecution of lots of citations that were issued in this offense. if I were to point any fingers, the issue that I have with this is how many intoxicated persons were identified from that resident or that location. And so that's why I think there is and the committee may be looking for some type of punitive action here. The issue, I think, that Attorney Dagan brought up on the last time is one that would be pertinent to the committee and kind of a factual issue to determine at a hearing, ultimately whether or not they were served there. The video may or may not speak to that, testimony may or may not speak to that, but in lieu of having kind of that drawn-out process to determine whether or not we can prove that, or the committee would get enough evidence to have that be proven, that's what the stipulation here is for. It's accountability to show the community that the committee isn't interested, or West Dallas isn't interested in these large fights. If you own a bar, you maintain that bar and don't let local service happen. But to acknowledge when bars are generally on their best behavior and a bad situation happens, there's going to be some penalties, but the committee, I guess my goal is that the committee works with those individuals. Certainly it's up to the committee, however, to proceed. This mask is annoying when I'm talking, the beard really pulled it down. It's up to the committee how to proceed in this one, if you want to accept it, if you want to try to have further negotiations, if you want to deny the stipulation altogether. At that point, I would ask that we set this for a hearing so that we can bring in those officers and potential witnesses. Again, the only reason I did not do that today was I just didn't want to pay overtime or have the city pay overtime if this were to be approved. I wasn't trying to lengthen the process at all.
Thank you.
For me, or
Yes.
Attorney Dagan, or if Attorney Dagan has any comments on the stipulation, then it's up to the
Alderman,
Mr. Chair?
yeah, Alderman Sophisky
Oh,
first.
go ahead.
So out of the people that were involved in this, have any of them been banned by your bar forever?
Yes.
Absolutely. The people that came in and really started the fight came in late. They're not regulars. They are known through other people that were regulars of this bar, but they have definitely been banned. And they came in, I think it was well after 1 o'clock in the morning, and caused this ruckus. And we tried to break it up, or I guess I didn't, but my guys tried to break it up and decided that they needed some help. So they're the ones that called the police right away to try to break this up. And these guys that came in that are not regulars just kept going and would not stop. So it really ballooned out of control. It's really rare for this bar, and they have been banned. To give you the short answer, that was kind of a long explanation.
Yeah,
They have
that's
been
fine.
banned. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Alderperson Christian?
Yes, my question is, and I'm not sure, I think we looked at the stipulation of a 3-day closure.
That's what I proposed, correct?
Yep.
Okay, is there a fine involved or none?
Not on the part of the bar. So there was lots of tickets issued. I've negotiated and resolved most of those tickets for the individuals. The police reports, I don't have a copy with me because they were long and I didn't want to reprint them, but the police reports, the one officer who would have been my primary officer goes through the video, identifies who on the video does what, and then what tickets are being issued. I think there's about 18 or 19 people long where that takes place. And so the largest of the group tickets, they get disorderly conduct, resisting, batteries. I think there's some thefts that are issued. Some people have a few $1,000s for the tickets that were issued. The bar was not, as far as I know, cited for any violations in terms of a money penalty or a ticket. The only penalty would be whatever License and Health Committee does. I don't believe a fine is a remedy that the License and Health Committee can impose.
Okay, that was part of my question. How long is the video that we may take a look at it?
It can be very long, or I can stop it wherever you think is appropriate.
Okay, I would like to take a look at it.
It's up to you,
Yeah.
the members, Would you like to see it, or?
Yes,
All right.
Yeah, don't know that we have to watch the entirety, but at least get an understanding.
Hey, Nick?
4 o'clock is what give me this option, it just, like, give me 1 minute to try to reload it. Is there a question?
I was gonna say, if you have that program open, if you just drag and drop the file in, it might work for you.
All right. Brilliant. So there's 2 primary videos. This is of the bar area. And then, as you can see, there's lots of other, actually, this is how it loaded up before. And so I can select a second video here, and we can watch that, but it becomes smaller. So I will show one, and then if you want to see more, I can show another angle, if that would be helpful. I think at this point, by and large, the fight that's on this video is kind of come and gone. The issue is that it continues then for some period of time around the bar, in certain other areas. There's several videos, and then obviously the patrons aren't all that cooperative when the cops show up. So at this point, most of the videos, or most of the fight has left this area and has gone on to a different portion of the video. I can show more, I can continue, we can stop, it's up to the committee.
Is that where it continued outside then?
It did not continue outside, then it continues toward the back of the bar, where, I think this is another view. Those parties that the committee has identified as probably largely the instigators, I know exactly where they are, and I've already, there won't be, there's not trials, we're not scheduled to have trials on these matters because they understood the error in their ways.
Did the video, any of the videos show the police
Yes.
dispersing?
Yep. Actually, this is
Nick?
yes.
From the time the fight broke out until the time the police were called, how much time transpired?
I cannot say for certain, but if we look on this
crew is here, made several appearances this year. You can see also Mr. Zarate come in and try to, he's over here for a period of time, and then he walks also back and tries to stop the fight then.
Okay.
And I think, is he asking also to watch it?
that's
All right. You can also see her on the video.
Okay.
Officers, at least, I mean, there's a point in time when the lights flick on,
Yeah.
the music stops, and then you can see him reach for the phone on the wall right there.
Yep, I remember. Okay, that's what I was wondering.
I'm not sure if it's the exact time or not, but
That's what I was wondering, if that was when he was calling the police, was right then and there, so, okay.
Did I answer the alderman's question? I can tell you,
Go ahead.
it was within about 3 minutes. They came
Okay.
pretty quick. I
No,
mentioned it
no,
before.
I was wondering how long it was from the time
Right, from when
the
I
incident
called.
started when you called.
Oh, well, that was probably less than 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds.
That was you when
pretty
you
quick.
flipped the lights on and,
Well, as soon as I can honestly say they started throwing fists and I couldn't break it
Okay.
up anymore, that's when I went.
Gotcha.
Because the amount of people that were involved, I couldn't.
okay, all right, thank you.
So that's what happened. But I can honestly say by the time I called and the police arrived, that was really quick. Within 3 minutes, I'd probably say. They were there pretty fast.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Zarate is in the blue hat, and this is the bartender. Trying to break it up. I think Mrs. Zarate also comes up and you can see her blonde hair, I'm not sure what she's wearing.
Okay.
Oh, prescription?
Yes, based on the testimony so far, and I do appreciate both of you coming in, situations like this can get out of control very fast, as we obviously see on video. If you have made measures that you, as you have stated, they're banned, you obviously called the police right away. You can't control how they're going to react when the police show up.
Right.
I think you've done a fairly good job remedying the situation.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to make note of that, and this video is very helpful in doing that. So if we're looking at a 3-day closure, I still think that there could have been an issue of over-serving. You know, the video may not point that out, we don't know that, but this is something serious enough to, you know, have half, if not all of our police force, you know, arrive at your bar. So in the future, yeah, be very mindful with that hour of serving and whatnot. But that's really what I have to say. The 3-day closure, if we want to discuss that or go to closed session, I don't know that we need to, but I think there was something brought up about
It's up to
the days.
the members.
All right.
Any other question from the committee
You
members?
want to say something? I was going to
I
make a
would,
motion.
if I may. Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Nick, with all of these other summons and complaints, we've always been told a minimum of 10, max of 90. Why 3?
If this goes to a hearing, and if the complaint is found to be, there's sufficient evidence to substantiate the complaint, then the minimum the committee could do is 10 days. In lieu of having that hearing, that's where the 3 days comes in, I can negotiate whatever we want at that point. And so if I guess I wouldn't negotiate generally something along the lines of 10 days unless it was a pretty bad act by the actor or the licensee or license, because that's what I could get here if I just did the hearing. So there's not much incentive for them to negotiate to a 10-day resolution unless really revocation is on the table. And so that's where that comes from, at least from my perspective. I reviewed, it was a discretionary call on my end in the negotiation with council.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Alderman.
Based on the actions that the licensee's taken and the video and showing how quickly they respond to get the police there to help them, I make a motion to approve based on the agreement that you've made with them for the 3 days.
Discussion?
Go ahead,
We need a
Alderperson
second
Reinke.
first.
Right.
Go ahead.
I have a question first.
I have,
Go
Okay.
ahead. No, I was just going to ask.
well,
Actually, Rebecca would
Alderperson
probably
Reinke,
answer
you
this. I'm not
first.
sure if Rebecca or Nick.
Ann or Rebecca on the,
You
Yeah.
first.
oh,
Go ahead.
Is that stipulation that you put the 3-day closure, you said that is negotiable. So if we chose to have further discussion, can we choose the days?
That would not be accepting the stipulation. So if you want to discuss the matter with the licensees and they want to volunteer something alternative, that's certainly an option. It'd be outside of what was negotiated here. And so if the committee wants to try to amend this and discuss with them, they could certainly, in my opinion, and not, Rebecca may have another opinion, they could say, no, we're not gonna accept that, we'd rather do a hearing, and that's completely within their bounds, and they're welcome to do so.
Okay.
So this is what I presented, this is what they're comfortable with. If the committee wants to broach the subject with the licensees, that's outside of.
Okay, thank you very much. I second.
Alderperson Reinke?
This bar has new ownership. Am I assuming that?
The last 5 years, this group
In
is
the
owned.
past, it's been a troubled bar, and I was hoping under new ownership that we wouldn't have any problems at all with this bar. I was a little disappointed a lot disappointed in the tavern's handling of the situation. Granted, you did call the police. That was 2 year plus. That's what we're told that we're supposed to do, so I commend you on that. However, the police, when they came, from the reports that I read, were harassed terribly by these people that were in the bar. They were pushed, they were shoved, they were literally harassed. I don't think that's very fair of the owner. And from what I understand, the owner was inebriated at the time and he didn't have control at all of the bar people. When you're an owner of a bar, you have to take responsibility. The responsibility definitely lies in your hands as well as your bartender. So I'm very disappointed to say that. As I indicated to you, the police spent many hours tracking down some of these people that were in the bar that weren't doing what they were supposed to, fighting and causing problems, pushing and shoving, and all that was happening in the reports. The police spend many hours putting these reports together for our committee and for others to look at, to see what's exactly has happened. I'm really, the written reports, if you read them, you would be very, very discouraged as to how the owner handled it. However, I'm really concerned with the stipulations that you have agreed to or negotiated for. It's like a slap on the fingers, a slap on the wrist. I mean, it's really disappointing to me when the bar itself caused all these problems. They could have initially closed the bar and got rid of these people. I don't understand a 3-day closure, and you choose Monday and Tuesday, which are the lowest, I would say probably customer base of the whole week. Is that negotiated as well, the 3 days that they choose, or can we choose that?
I left it up to their choosing for the negotiated stipulation.
Right.
If the committee wants to engage in negotiations with the licensee, again, it's fully up to them if they want to accept that or take it to hearing.
Alderperson Reinke, we can just change it if you, the wishes of the members, you know, I mean, but so you raised your hands, go ahead.
I wanted to address that, and your comments are
Would you
very-
please pull your
down.
mask down, sir, because I have a little trouble hearing.
Okay, your comments are very important, but I think you misconstrue who the bad people were in this case. In this case, the bar owners, the owner and his wife were part of the people trying to break it up, and the bar manager was sober and he was trying to break things up, and the customers were also trying to help break it up. When they determined that that one guy, this Frankie guy who kind of pushed somebody over the bar, was out of control, that's when they called the police. This guy has been banned from the bar. He is not a regular. He's well known in the community to be a rabble-rouser, and he's not allowed to step foot in this place. The people that push the police are not the owners of the bar, ma'am, not by any stretch of your imagination. They were the ones that cooperated and tried to clear this up. In fact, I think a couple of the customers had their purses ripped off by these people that are now banned from this bar. So what I want you to do, and it's very important, is to understand that these people did not interfere with the officers. They tried to work with the officers. They're the ones that called the officers right away. They take this very seriously. They're very active with calling Uber. They also do the Safe Ride program. They pay for their patrons to get a ride home. So in case if somebody seems like they're a little tipsy, they don't let them drive. So they're very responsible people, and it's not like the prior ownership, which is very important to note too. In 5 years that they've owned this, this is the first experience like this, and they're as mad as you are about it, if not madder, because it's their livelihood, it's their place. They own the real estate, they bought the building. They run a friends and family tavern, and these thugs came in and raised hell one Saturday night after 1 o'clock in the morning, and we weren't perfect, and that's why we agreed to a stipulation to some closure and acknowledging that, yeah, there was a problem, there was a fight, and we hate it as much as the city does. So we don't allow this kind of thing to happen in this bar, and we don't want this to happen again, and we're gonna pay more attention to people that come in, and if there's any hint of somebody like that who's not a regular who comes in and starts to raise a fuss, they're gonna call the cops right away and get them the heck out of there, because they don't want this kind of crap in their place. They run a good family tavern, and they changed the theme. It's much different than it was in the past, so please don't confuse it with that. And they take it seriously, and you can tell. That's why we're here. That's why we've had some negotiations with the city. We've agreed to a 3-day closure as an understanding that it wasn't perfect, but at the same time, none of these people pushed any of the officers or caused any problems for the officers. In fact, they cooperated with the officers, showed them where the video was that night. Dave took them down there, and they took the video that night. So I want you to understand, please, please, please understand that it wasn't these people that had any hassles with the cops. It was those jerks that came in and raised hell and that are banned from the bar. And I think that if you see the video, this Frankie guy, he doesn't stop. And so he's the guy that they slowed him down one time, then he's in the back and he starts it up again. So there's your instigator, ma'am, and this guy's banned from this place. He's not a regular. They just happen to know him through other people. And they sure as heck don't ever want to see his face again and set foot in the place. So that's the problem, is that some guy came in. This could have happened in any bar in West Allis, and it just happened to be this bar that night after 1 o'clock in the morning. So I urge you to keep in mind that they take this seriously. They run a good place. They've changed the theme from what it used to be. They have better clientele. And in 5 years, they've never had anything happen even close to this. So I'd ask you to take that into consideration, and I'd ask the committee to accept the settlement that I negotiated with the city attorney's office.
Well, thank you for clarifying that for me. If the man wasn't allowed in the bar, why didn't they tell him to leave when he came in?
He was banned after this event because he
was
doesn't
after
come
the
in there.
fact.
He's not a person that they know, or he doesn't come in there. So he's been banned since this event. Yeah.
Have you seen
go
any
ahead.
of these people previously?
I don't know.
Previous to this
Previously, have
time?
they come in?
Not all of them, I'm sorry.
You jumped in.
Not all of them, but that individual has been in the place before very frequently, but never had any problems with them in the past. And I can also say he did.
Your
had
customer
problems
base,
before.
basically, your customer base consists of neighborhood?
Mostly neighborhood and family and friends. David Zarati's family is rather large, and they're all local sports fans, so we watch all the Brewer games, Packer games, Badger games, every local team we support, so we're more of a sports bar, more of a happy hour, early family friends, couples place. You know, it's not really, we don't have DJs on the weekends, we don't have parties, we don't, nowadays, and with all due respect, Alderman Rankin, with your mentions about the days of the week during this time, during COVID, it's very difficult to maintain and have any kind of incomes. Any days that we're closed impact our bottom line, you know, Monday.
Thank you
Monday
for
night
clarifying
football,
that.
You know, so I mean, we're not close to that, that's it.
So you anticipate this to be the one-time deal, one time,
Absolutely.
We pray, yeah, that's a goal, for sure.
and you're prepared, basically?
Any
Mr. Chair,
questions anymore for?
The only thing that bothers me, what I'm reading in the report, was that the bar owner was so intoxicated that he couldn't make a description.
Exactly.
In my opinion, as a bar owner, you are always supposed to be cognizant of what is going on in your bar, no matter what. So if that means you cut back on your drinking, That is a responsible business owner. That's the statement I want to make. But I still think that what they're doing, and after seeing the video, what they're doing to rectify this, I think is a good thing.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I
yeah, go
just
ahead.
have one thing to add. Hindsight's 2020. And I think you've shown the council that you have made ample measures, to assure that this isn't going to happen in the future. There's no guarantee. I mean, but as long as you take these notes and take it back, I'm satisfied with it. And Mr. Chair, if I may say, there was a motion to approve and a second.
And we're still discussing.
Go ahead,
Correct.
Alderman Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess I'm going to echo what Alderman Stefanski said is, I am disappointed too in the bartender. Everybody in that building was highly intoxicated except for the bartender. He was extremely intoxicated.
I'm sorry. May I think you have it reversed.
That's up to the chair.
I'm the bartender, I'm the one I called, I dealt with the police.
Whoever is David Zarate.
Okay.
Okay, I'm looking at extremely intoxicated, not even highly, extremely.
I was involved in it, trying to break it up.
No, I'm just saying, I'm disappointed.
No, I know, I don't, well,
Let him finish talking.
okay, go ahead.
And this is a tough one. I mean, I cannot remember on this committee having mutual aid for a bar fight. I mean, we had 2 other police departments there. And this is a tough one. I know they just walked in, but you keep saying they were known to us. Why are you letting known people in then? Do you have someone at your door? Do you have a door guard, a security guy?
No.
We never had a problem with them before.
Okay.
Good, Alderman.
And let me correct this if I may be misunderstanding from what you're saying. The people that caused this fight, you said you found out that they were problem people throughout the neighborhood, or did you know that they were afterwards?
They said, oh, that guy,
Okay.
I know that guy got in trouble down at this place.
That's what I want. You didn't know that they were a problem person before they came in. You found out afterwards. Okay, thank you.
I have a different version in reference of the days of kosher. I mean, I believe in the past we were giving harsher penalty, I mean, every case is different, but this case has some validity really in reference what really occur, in reference. To me, I mean, I understand they tried their best and everything happened in 5 years, but what happened that night, the police were called, was not really something very respectable for many of the patrons that were there that night. So my amendment that I'd like to propose, I mean, 3 days is not really something that we really ever done in reference of some and complaints that we've been following throughout the years, really. So to me, I think it should be a long week from the 38th to the 5th of December, I mean, to me would be more appropriate, I think. I mean, it's kind of sad to see a business to close down, but 3 days, it's like give somebody a slap in the hand, on their hand, really. To me, I mean, we need to be more, like I call it, more surveillance in regard to what's going on in our community, and the 3 days is not enough for me to really be satisfied with the kosher. I think it should be at least 6 days. 6 days of kosher.
Mr. Chair.
Consecutively, not just, go ahead.
Would we need to, because we're having a discussion, there's a stipulation that's been presented, if I am reading this correctly, and either we accept this stipulation and make a vote on it, or do we then
could amend
vote
that, too.
to amend it?
To amend
Which
it.
would we take that up in a hearing? Or how would that work?
The way I see it going, maybe Rebecca can speak to it better, but there's a motion and a second right now, and
Right.
To accept the document as issued. And so I think prior to making or to proposing any amendments to the licensee, you need to satisfy that motion and second for this to be, this as a whole. After that, if the committee wants to engage in discussions with council, with something alternative, if they want to agree to that and we can memorialize it, put it in writing, that's fine. It's really up to the licensee if they want to accept something other than this. They could, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but they could really say, no, we'd rather just do the hearing and that's their prerogative. They have a due process right to have that hearing. So,
Right.
I think at first we have to clear up the motion and second on the document that was presented.
Right.
Nick,
Chair?
Nick, I do, I
Mr.
totally
Chairman.
understand, in somewhat the procedure. But first of all, I believe before any decision were really made to give the 3 days, I think the License and Health Committee should have been aware what the stipulation was. To me, it was just given to us, that's fine, and I do appreciate that. But this should have been informed the chairman or the vice chairman just as well. If we kind of had to agree that 3 days of closure.
Mr. Chairman, for that,
You know-
I can't negotiate a case with, that'd be like including the judge in my negotiation. You guys are the judge in this case, and so I can't include you in the negotiation. I can inform you after the fact that this has been a negotiated outcome, but it would be ex parte communication if I were to say, what would you like me to try to negotiate in this case? I can't do that. That's illegal. And so all I can do is negotiate a potential resolution and then present it to you. And the committee can say, Nick, and I'll read the tea leaves going forward as well. The committee can say, Nick, we don't support this, we reject it, we'd like to have a hearing, and that's totally fine. I have no skin in the game here. My goal is to make a legally sound resolution, an appropriate resolution as the prosecutor for the city, to actions or violations. And so I cannot negotiate with the committee on this one.
Yeah,
There might be another option the committee has at this point, just to point this out, is that we still have to satisfy that motion in a second. Attorney Hammack is on the line, and the committee does have the ability to go into closed session as well on this matter and discuss it further. But I would really caution you that if you go into closed session, that anything outside of the four corners of this would have to be approved or agreed to by the licensee. So you can't just say, Mr. Zarate, we're actually going to give you a 5-day suspension, because A, that'd be impermissible, because you'd have to have a hearing first, and B, so it has to be, really has to be a negotiated resolution if it's going to be something other than this outside of a hearing. If that makes sense.
Okay. Totally understood. So
Mr.
there's a
Chair?
motion, a second. Go ahead.
Can we go into closed session and decide on different stipulations and what have been on the paper?
You cannot decide on different stipulations in closed session, because you'd have to, the only way you could do that is if we had a hearing. And so if you want to have a hearing, and then you want to go into closed session and deliberate what should happen based on the hearing that we had, whether or not there's a finding of guilt, basically, or the complaint is founded, and then what the penalty should be. So the only discussion you can have in closed session right now would be, well, actually it has to be you have to finish your vote on the stipulation that there is right now. If you want to move into closed session and discuss if this stipulation is appropriate, you can do that. Or if you want to move into closed session and discuss what else you might like to see and propose that, but that can be rejected. You can't impose anything today beyond what's on here unless it's agreed upon by the licensee. There hasn't been a hearing, so it's not due process at this point. It'll only be agreed upon resolution.
So you can't agree on the stipulations without a hearing?
You could discuss with Attorney Dagan that we want to see something different. Attorney Dagan could say, no, this is what we negotiated, I'm not doing that, we're going to have a hearing. Or you could say, yeah, sure, we'll do it a different day. It's up to them. But you cannot make them do something without having a hearing.
So
Mr. Chairman.
we have an emotion of second to approve the stipulation. So let's vote on it.
Hang on.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Walt wants to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nick, would this be cleaner if the motion was withdrawn? And then we can start over with this? And not go into closed session and not have a summons and complaint? If the motion and second were withdrawn, then can we discuss with the owners, negotiate, like, no, we want more time, we want less time? Can we do it then if the motion is withdrawn?
It's up to the committee how they want to proceed. My advice would be, I understand your question, is that you don't want, well,
I'll jump in, Nick, sorry. I think if you want to alter the stipulation in some way, yes, you would have to withdraw the motion. And frankly, you should probably just proceed to a whole evidentiary hearing on a different date if you're not going to accept the stipulation, so that council has time to review any proposed changes, and if they aren't going to agree to any proposed changes, so that council also has an opportunity to actually present his full case. Because those are the issues that we're going to run into if we just impose something else.
Thank you, Rebecca. So what's your?
Mr. Chair.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
go ahead.
Can we withdraw the motion and then we can work on the stipulation then? Rebecca?
You can, if it's something that council's willing to agree to, but, I mean, if you want to go into closed session, we can talk a little bit more about why I don't really think that's necessarily the best course.
All right.
Rebecca, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. Rebecca, would you recommend either taking action or withdrawing this motion prior to going into closed session? My concern is that there's a motion and a second on the table, and if we had another motion to go into closed session right now, that would get, I don't think we can even do that, in Robert's rules. I think we need to act on that motion and second first, or withdraw that motion and second first, even if you want to go into closed session. Would that be your understanding?
Yeah, I would say withdraw the motion prior to going into closed session. And if after closed session, ultimately, you decide you do want to approve the stipulation, we can just put in the motion again when we get back.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Alderman.
Rebecca, can we go into closed session without removing the motion?
Sorry, it's really hard for me to hear you guys. Try that again.
Can we go into closed session without removing the motion?
I would say, just to make it clean, we should just withdraw it, talk about it, and then come back. And if you want to redo it, I think that's just the cleanest way to do it, so it doesn't seem like there's anything, I don't know, amiss.
So what's your consensus, to withdraw or just to vote on it?
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
I believe, based on the information that's been provided and the advisement of Rebecca, I mean, we could discuss this more, but I'm satisfied personally with the 3-day stipulation as it is. There is a motion on the floor. I don't know if Alderman Stefanski wants to withdraw it. I won't withdraw my second. And
I
we
don't
can
wanna
just take it
withdraw
to vote, and we can decide from there.
So let's move on for voting. All in favors?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No,
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So the motion failed. So now we can determine if you want to go in closed sessions? or-
Now, if somebody would like to make a motion to go into closed session or suggest,
I make a
Second.
motion to go into closed session.
okay.
second.
Second, all in favor of going
Aye.
in closed
Aye.
sessions? We are in closed session, so
You want me to read that section? Rebecca
Please.
would normally read this, but since she's remote, it might be
that's up to
easier.
you. If you want to read it.